is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek, and I'm here with Uwe Eichert from Academy Games looking at Freedom, the Underground Railroad, which you have 100 advanced copies at Gen Con 2013. Game's debuting. Kickstarter supporters can pick it up with proof of who they are and purchase. But yeah, I mean, we talked a little about Origins, you getting advanced copies shipped in just to check everything out. You were doing that with 1775.
We did it with 1775, also Strike of the Eagle. The Kickstarter is still going through Sunday, but for Kickstarter supporters who already have pledged, they can pick up games here, but we have two conditions for this. And why are we doing this? People ask. They say, how can you do this? Number one, you need to show a credit card, and we take your credit card information, just in case you pick up the game and then decide to go on a Kickstarter and cancel your pledge. But the reason we're doing it is a printer, we've seen this often, a printer sends you a production proof of 1 or 2 games and everything looks beautiful. And then it hits production and you're like, this changed. And the printer goes, too bad, you know, what do you want?
You check the approve, you approve everything, you're done.
And they get something different. What we do though is we found if they do a print run of 100, they can't cheat as easy. And so we always have 100 games done. We paid $1,700 to have them air freighted over here. Killed me. And the people pick them up. The only way we'll allow to take them, and we request, is that we open the game and go through every component to make sure they're up to par. And we found now 2 things that I don't like. Number one is they had our advertisement catalog sheet right on the top instead of the rule book, so that needs to change. But more important, on the slave catcher die, as you can see here, each path has a different symbol, like a pentagon, a triangle, a square, and they're color coordinated. I'm not happy with the blue. The blue is just a little too dark. The blue should be a light blue instead of the dark blue. And the oval should be a dark violet instead of light violet. And I feel that this light violet and the light blue could confuse people, even though all our playtests say, what's the problem? We can tell this is an oval and not a pentagon. But you know what?
But if you got playtesters, I mean, they're a little more into it. Like, you want the guy who's just opening the box, who doesn't know anything, and just, you don't want any questions.
And if someone rolls a pentagon blue, I don't know if there's confusion, but I already talked to the printer. They were aghast saying, oh, what's the problem? They have to throw them all away. They're going to redo the dice. So instead of shipping the game to our Kickstarter supporters in early September, it'll be now late September, and the stores will get it then in November. So I'm very happy we did this. It's all other quality I'm ecstatic with. So thank you for those who picked them up, who allowed us to open the game.
That's right. That's what you want. All right.
In this game, it covers the abolitionist movement between 1800 and 1860. The players, it's a cooperative game, the players play abolitionists. And they play different type of abolitionists, and we have different roles. And you can see through Kickstarter, because we got all the support, we got additional role cards added to the game. So thank you very much, supporters. And every player will get a different role, like a station master, or the conductor, the preacher. And what these roles allow each player to do, it gives them certain benefits and strengths in the game. In the game, the players together need to have 2 goals. Number one, they're moving slaves from the southern plantations to Canada. So in order to win, like in a 3-player game, you need to move 16 slaves from the plantations up to Canada.
Oh, and obviously the challenging game.
The challenging game is a lot harder, yes. Middle of the board.
Middle of the board.
So this is for the regular game. You need to free 16 slaves. And if you lose 18 slaves, the game's instantly over. So that's number one. The other condition to play the game is you need to buy all of the support tokens. And the game is in 3 eras, 1800 through 1839, 1840 through 59, and 1860 to 1865. Each era has a certain number of conductor tokens. They have cards specialized for each era. And they also have certain type of funding tokens specialized for each era. During the game, the players During a game, the players together will purchase their support tokens, which cost $10, conductor tokens, or pull their funding tokens. That's at the beginning. They do it all simultaneous.
Okay.
Money is a raw resource in this game. So the conductor tokens allow you to move the slaves north towards Canada. So if I would purchase a conductor token that allowed me to move 2 slave counters, 2 areas each, that would allow me, for example, if I were here in the plantation, I could go 1, 2. And I could move them here, and my second one, I'll go, let's say 1, 2.
Okay.
And this gets discarded from the game.
Okay.
The problem is there are only so many conductor tokens per era. And once they run out, the Underground Railroad will come to screeching halt if you do not buy all the support tokens.
Right.
And once you purchase all support tokens, you then go to the next era, and you get more specialized cards for that era.
Okay.
That's the first thing. The second thing is we have slave catchers, which was very predominant for the era, starting on the game board as marked on the game board. And any time that you move, let's just put one on wherever. Okay, thank you. Anytime you move a slave that is along the path of a slave catcher, so if I moved like this, the slave catcher moves towards where the slave moved on.
Right.
So when I moved here, this moves here.
Okay.
So for example, if I would move a slave into Washington, D.C., it intersects 2 paths. He would move here, he would move here, the slave is caught and goes into the slave market area.
Right.
The slave market area starts out with so many slaves as dictated on the cards, and at the end of the round, the slaves on the slave markets need to populate the plantations.
Right.
That shows between 1800 and 1860, it was illegal in most cases to import slaves from Africa and overseas. But the slave market in America was so prodigious, it was so such a big business and money business that slave population in America at the time, where there was a movement to stop it, it quadrupled. The slave population 4-fold increased in America.
Right.
Due to the slave markets. So at the end of the round, these cubes need to be placed into open plantation areas. If the players did not move enough north to freedom, any excess ones go into the freed slave pile,
Right.
and once this fills up, the players lose the game.
Right.
So in this game, it shows the abolitionist causes. You are abolitionists trying to end slavery. You do not own slaves. You do not move the slave catchers. That's all part of the game.
Right.
Another very neat thing, and why the education market is so excited about it, is this political action and the laws that took effect during the era. So each era has specialized things that happen during that time. During a player's turn, they can play their conductor tokens that they purchase to move, but they can also purchase for different amounts of money, as it shows on the top here, different cards that helped the abolitionist movement.
Right.
And these were laws that came into effect, organizations that were grounded and brought about. But also in each deck are opposition cards. And these are cards and laws that took effect and were counter to the abolitionist cause and actually helped the slavery cause. And these also come into the abolitionist track. So players have to talk to each other and figure out, how can we stop these from happening? How can we have the positive things happen?
So you know they're in the deck,
but you
they're
don't know
coming,
when
but
they
you
come
don't
up.
know when.
Exactly.
Because you have to, I mean, you can't just ignore the history of it and say,
Exactly.
you know, that they're not there, but it's kind of weird that you know they're coming. You're like the time traveler who goes back that knows something is...
Well, you hope that they don't happen, but they can happen.
Right.
And what's neat about the game, why it's such a great educational tool, we're working with some of the biggest publishers for the school market
Right.
that are going to be distributing this in the K through 12, because they've played the game and they go, it has such a historical it's fun to play, but also you're learning stuff. Many people don't know the Dred Scott decision, what happened. And we give the history, tell people what happened, or important people who helped the cause. And people play them, they play the cards, they find out and go, wow.
Right.
You learn about history while you're also playing the game.
All right. Sounds awesome. So do you have given the delay, do you have an anticipation of when it will be available
We
again?
were going to ship, the Kickstarter ends this Sunday, so anybody who's still interested, we have incredible Kickstarter stretch goals, all which have been met. We are hoping for our 10,000 goal because it's a heavy topic. I mean, we were afraid abolitionist movement,
Right.
but we've had so much support from not only historians and schools, but also gamers who played and go, this is like Pandemic on steroids. Can I say that? Pandemic, great game, love it. And that's why I love this game.
Yeah.
This is, of course, a little more involved.
That's right. Plus, you have a real history that you're built
Yes,
on.
exactly. So the thing is, Kickstarter goes through this Sunday. In the Kickstarter stretch goals, we have nice big 25 millimeter wooden pawns for the slave catchers. We have a really cool, for the first player, a metal and glass lantern. We have additional cards, which you can't get otherwise, expansion cards. A lot of really neat stuff, so would appreciate the support. Because I don't like the colors, we were planning on shipping early September. They're going to remold, since only one die,
Right.
remold and change the colors. They've already sent me samples and all over the internet because they're kind of irked at us, but life is life, I will not accept it. So there will be another 3-week delay.
Right.
So it'll be end of September for supporters, and it'll be hitting stores in November.
Okay. So, excellent. Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
overview.
I appreciate your time, and I want to thank all the Board Game Geek guys. I want to thank Nikki and Lincoln also for doing the great Kickstarter video and everything. If anybody needs help with that, call Nikki. Did a great job for us.
Okay.
I don't know if that's legal. Sorry, Nikki.
Call out here. That's right.